always excited to bring you Politics Today on independent television and radio every Saturday. And that's because politics plays a very important, pivotal role in our social, political, and economic development. And you must be interested in it. In today's program, our major focus is on Clause 84, subsection 12 of the Electoral Act as amended, based on the Court of Appeal ruling nullifying the judgment delivered by Federal High Court in Umuahia. Our panelists are already here, but as usual, just want to help you make sense of some of the issues that are on the front burner in the political scene. I mean, the race for 2023 is on, and as is always expected, aspirants are jostling for the very soul of the delegates, ensuring that they're able to woo them, convince them to be on their side when the political parties hold their congresses. Of course, as has been mentioned in previous episodes of the program, INEC has insisted no going back on the date or the timeline for conduct of primaries and submission of the list of candidates of political parties. How that will pan out is only a matter of time. And some story that we're also following now is coming from the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, which is written INEC demanding APC, PDP, other aspirants' bank details. This is coming to the fore against the background of the huge sums of monies paid by aspirants to go into the mainframe of the aspirations. Most guilty of this is the ruling party, the APC, which charged 100 million naira for presidential nomination forms, and of course the PDP, which charged 40 million naira for presidential nomination forms. So, INEC has been asked to furnish EFCC with the details of these aspirants as well as the political parties. I recall that the EFCC chairman, Bauer, did make a comment in that regard, featuring on a current affairs program on television, where he disclosed that they are working on how to unravel the mysteries behind the millions and millions being paid as nomination forms. Okay, in Delta State, Deputy Senate President Senator Omar Agege said that he has not resigned his governorship ambition in that state following speculation that he had. So you keep tabs on that story. But the news that broke most people's hearts over the week came up on Thursday in faraway Sokoto State, talking about one Miss Deborah Yakubu, who was killed. Not only killed, in a most gruesome way, her corpse was also burnt. She was alleged to have said something blasphemous against Prophet Muhammad. And as a result of that, the mob, who are basically were fanatical, took stones against her, killed her, and eventually burnt her corpse. This is really, really saddening. And since it happened, reactions have been trailing this particular incident. But the one that is of most interest to people was a comment which was made by a presidential aspirant, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar. Well, that comment came via Twitter handle, via his Twitter handle, and our Facebook page, and then somewhere along the line, it was taken down. And people have been asking, why on one breath you sympathized with the families and condemned the act, and all of a sudden the tweet is nowhere to be found. That's what some have described as being political, sensing that there will be a backlash from his fellow brothers and sisters, and there's really a backlash, even a worse backlash now on account of that action that he took. Really, really sad. Our heart goes out to the families of Deborah, who was gruesomely killed and his corpse burnt. We're told that he made a blasphemous comment on the WhatsApp group, but from investigation that has been carried out so far, no such thing happened. But as always the case, this is one, deaths too many that has taken place in this form, and nothing meaningful has been done to the perpetrators at the level of the British High Commission, at the level of Amnesty International, at the level of several high-profile personalities. The federal government is being called upon to ensure that the killers of Deborah Yakubu, they are brought to justice within the shortest possible time. The Sultan of Sokoto, Alhaji Muhammad Saad Abubakar, has condemned the killing, calling on the security agencies to ensure that the perpetrators are brought to book. Gentlemen, I want to thank you for coming on the show. Barrister A.B. Thomas is a constitutional lawyer, political analyst. Thank you for coming on the program.
Thank you very much for having me.
I also want to thank Barrister Greg Iyayi for joining us on the program. Barrister Greg Iyayi is also a constitutional lawyer, public affairs commentator, and a clergy. Thank you for joining us on the program.
Thank you very much. It's always a pleasure.
Okay, let's start off with the recent development in Sokoto State with the murder of Deborah Yakubu. Barrister A.B. Thomas, I know you are a Muslim. What is blasphemy? Let's start off with just a little bit of it.
Blasphemy, in a very simple, explanatory way, is when you say something that is sacrilegious, something that is bringing somebody else, in this case, Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, into ridicule, into disrepute. When you make such statements, in Islam we say it is blasphemous. Okay. That is what it is. But if I'm to go further into the question itself, it's a pity that a part of Nigeria has taken themselves to believe that they are the only Muslims in Nigeria, while taking Islam back to Stone Age. Even at the Stone Age, any Islamic scholar, which I am not, that I have discussed with, they've told me it is not permissible in Islam to fight for Almighty Allah or Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, by stoning to death anybody whom you accuse of blaspheming Prophet Muhammad. Okay. Now, look at it this way. Assuming, without even considering, that stoning is permissible in Islam. Yeah. Assuming, I'm not considering. Yeah. There are procedures you must follow. The person will be entitled to be heard. The person must be accused. That is, you bring the person before the ulamas. That is also well schooled in Islam. Then they will listen. You accuse the person and tell the person this is what you have done. The person will be given the opportunity to defend him or herself. Okay. Thereafter, judgment will be passed. But if you even look at the Hadith and the Holy Quran, it is there that even Prophet Muhammad himself, peace be upon him, was during his lifetime insulted by so many people. And when one of those who insulted him did so, that person's son came to Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, to ask for permission to kill his own father for insulting the Prophet. The Prophet said, no, don't do it. Why are some people becoming so violent? I have been saying this thing over and over. There is a confusion going on in Nigeria. For instance, the core northern Nigeria Muslims don't see the southwestern Muslims or southern Muslims as Muslims.
They see them as what?
They see us as perverted Muslims. They see us as unclean Muslims. Whereas what is happening is that if you see the average Fulani man, for instance, his cultural way of dressing is incomplete without putting a dagger in his left hand. Yeah. That is not part of Islam. It If you see an average Fulani man who wants to marry, the only way they can see him as a man is to put him down and give him 100 lashes of cane to see if he is a man. This kind of violence you cannot find in anywhere in the Hadith, in the Holy Hadith or the Holy Quran. Okay. So you find that these people are missing their own culture
with religion.
And
hiding under
it to perpetrate violence.
All right, let me get your take on this, Barrister Greg Yayi. In one of the videos, I mean, we could see literally those who perpetrated this dastardly act, this, violence, indoctrinated personalities, to speak, or individuals. One of them had a matchbox with him, and one of the videos is trending online. This is one incident too many. It's not the first time, it's not the second time. Usually there's a whole baloo around it, just we're seeing right now. Then all of a sudden, everything, disappears from the airspace. I'd like to get your take on bringing the perpetrators to justice, beyond the rhetorics.
Yes. I think Ibi Thomas, a Muslim, has done justice to whether this is propelled by Islamic conviction or not. So the aspect I'm concerned about is, what does the government do about this? I think because previous perpetrators have not been punished, have not been dealt with, have not been brought to book. That is what is giving the effrontery to other people to go on doing this kind of thing. Well, we are told that the police has arrested 2 people, and would like those people to bring out those people who collaborated with them, and they must have known them, and would like them to be charged to court as quickly as possible and brought to justice. That is the only way the government can douse detention, and then also make people believe that they are not conniving with these people, because this is a discredit to Islam. And good enough, the Sultan of Sokoto has spoken loudly about it. And I think it's one incident too many. The government should bring the perpetrators to book. This kind of thing has been happening over and over and over and over, and the government does nothing. So the people feel emboldened. Others feel that they should even do worse things and just take somebody's life. This is a young girl who went in search of good education and went to the College of Education there. And look at what has happened to her. How does this foster unity between Christians and Muslims, between the North and the South, and between various groups in the country? It is sad, really sad.
All right, Pastor, quickly, last word on this here.
You see, this kind of situation, you only hear of the arrest of 2 people. But those I saw in that video
were a mob.
Were more than 20 or 30.
Yes.
How can you say you are only identifying only 2 people? Just to satisfy the noise coming from international community and the Southerners. But let me tell you straight away, as long as the Northerners in Nigeria keep on mixing politics with religion, keep on focusing on religious patronage, nobody will have the boldness to go and implement justice as it is due.
Yes.
When Gideon Akaluka, people went into the prison in Kano, in Bombay, went into Bombay prison in Kano, forcibly entered the prison, removed this Igbo man, Gideon Akaluka, got his head, put it in a spear, and pirated Kano. Till today, did you hear anything about it anymore?
No.
The reason is that those who keep on asking to be elected into governors in Nigeria, they are not called to order that what is your relationship between governance and religion. The moment these people are always, if Atiku, for instance, in his own handle, Twitter handle, condemned the issue, and suddenly it disappeared. You can say that it is, if Atiku becomes president tomorrow and a thing like this happens, he dare not react.
He will not.
Because the hardened Muslims among them who have taken into practice our religion, radicalized it, we never vote for him again. And because of this, they are happy when they have these almajiris in the street begging. Upon all the money Jonathan voted to educate all these almajiris, it is in the interest of the Dothan politicians to keep having them in the streets so as to use them for this violent propagation of Islam, which is not. Islam is not a religion of violence. Islam is a religion of peace. And politicians are using these people, and as soon as they become governors, presidents, and these barbaric and uncivilized acts take place, you will find these politicians not interfering.
They're looking the other way.
They look the other way. Because it will affect their political interests. As long as Nigerians don't vote for ideological politicians, as long as Nigerians don't vote for who is interested in their welfare, but we vote along tribal and religious lines, so with this barbaric and uncivilized attitude continue to go.
Okay.
As from tomorrow, you will not hear about those two people who are purportedly arrested.
Right, Barrister Greg, you said a while ago that the highly revered Sultan of Sokoto has condemned this act in strong terms. What more do you expect?
I would expect the Sultan to match words with action. It's more than just coming out and condemning it, because such has been done a number of times. We want the Sultan to use his moral authority to really bear on the government and make sure that these people, because it happened in his own domain, the seats of the caliphates. And then it's also a discredit to his own religion. And people who would have been converted to Islam, they will look at this and they say, what's all this about? So the Sultan should match words with action and use his moral authority to actually bear on the government and make sure that these people, they are prosecuted and they are punished. Because till such a thing, and it should be advertised that these people have been arrested, they have been prosecuted, and were convicted, the punishment according to law should be meted out on them. It's murder, and the punishment for murder is death. And if the government actually is resolute about this, and they do it, it's going to be a disincentive to other people who might have the motivation to say, oh, we want to try something like this. So I expect the Sultan to do much more.
Okay. If I may just quickly add something.
Yes.
We have been hearing of Fulani people attacking our people in Edo State. I don't want to mention other places, because I will take your time.
Yeah, but the Sultan I actually wanted you to respond to, which is that, is the school authority culpable in this event?
The school authority is helpless.
Very helpless.
Very helpless. You can imagine, even in the south here, where you have courtists, where courtists will threaten lecturers. So what is the school going to do about people who just pick stones? If a lecturer is there, or the director of the school is there, they will stone him. They will stone him. Our institutions have been so bastardized that all we are breeding in most of the schools are radicals who have no moral obligation to the society anymore. So you find that at the end of the day, the school's rector or director may even be shouting, and they will beat him up, because these are people who are on tramadol, who are on different drugs, and they see it as a way of venting their frustration. Okay. Going to school is not by force. The worst you could have done could have been, oh, this guy don't come back to the school again. The poor guy will be alive. But if you look at the way you have been talking of Fulani herdsmen killing people in this country, have you heard of one, just one in Nigeria, taken to court whether in Plateau, Edo, Ondo, anywhere. As long as people attract themselves to religion and make religion as the basis upon which they can come to governance, nothing can go on. Nobody will be prosecuted.
All right, thank you very much, gentlemen. It's still Politics Today on independent television and radio. We always advocate that in our analysis, the transmission is possible to play down on names so it doesn't look like a particular tribe or ethnic constituency, so to speak, is being tagged. So by Simon Thomas, just a little bit of caution there. Let's move on the show. Many times we plan to do a particular thing, and something becomes so burning. Obviously, the soul of Deborah Yakubu is really out there hunting those who killed her. Yes. And may have also been the reason why this issue became so topical on the program today, even though this wasn't the original plan for our package for today. But it's okay. Our hearts goes out with the families, her family members, her parents, her siblings, her community, and everyone concerned. I would pray that justice will be done, because even in her last words, according to what is available online, she was asking them, what are they going to gain from killing her? And she was pleading for mercy. So it tells you her own religious inclination. Something that started out as a mere conversation in a WhatsApp group has led to the death of an individual. And some fanatics, who may look maybe in exalted position, are applauding this dastardly act. All right, so what defines blasphemy? How do you define blasphemy? It looks like, it's so sad. But we hope that the authorities will go beyond just mere rhetorics and do something urgent to bring the perpetrators of this dastardly act to justice, because this is one death too many in this particular format. One death too many. Okay, on the road to 2023, a whole lot is happening, but one particular one that is taking our attention is the Court of Appeal judgment which nullified the ruling by Federal High Court in Umuahia, which of course expunged Section 84, Section 2, or Clause 84, Subsection 2 of the Electoral Act. That section specifically mentioned that those in position of authority who are appointed must resign, otherwise they can't participate in the delegate conference and they can't be voted for or even cast their vote, as it were. That has been on in the last couple of days. It was a case of to be or not to be. And Nigerians started asking those who are aspiring for any political position to resign and go focus on that. Today, some ministers have actually resigned, there were 9 of them, but some are still sitting tight. For those who are still sitting tight, you can tell, obviously that the intention was to hold the position tight and try to get this position. So if eventually it doesn't work, I come back to my position. But you can't eat your cake and have it. So gentlemen, I'd like to get the legal interpretation of this Court of Appeal judgment, which some say, in a sense, really has not nullified what happened at the Federal High Court in Umuahia. But let me start with Barrister Greg Iyahi. Tell us about this judgment.
The judgment actually has 2 legs, and sometimes, if you look at it, it appears confusing. I would say on technicality, it struck down the judgment of the Umuahia High Court. Okay. But it again said that we need to consider this issue on merits, that they would uphold the judgment of the Umuahia High Court. So what that amounts to is really very difficult. And I don't know this issue minds, except for the time limits before the delegates conferences. Some might have said, okay, let us test it at the apex courts. But I feel that it has also given some authority to the government, because the government has been quiet about this, particularly the presidency, They haven't said anything about it, but though they would not admit, they have been emboldened by the appeal court judgment to tell ministers that they should resign. You see, what I even want to say about this, that the situation arose, that it even became an argument, shows how immoral we can be in Nigeria. Supposing I'm the minister for defense, at least to a large extent I have some soldiers under my control, and I am contesting and I remain in office. Will I not use those soldiers to coerce some people and then to have my way? But that ought not to be. I think without even being told, either by the courts or by any law, these people ought to know that if I'm contesting for an office, that I should resign. Particularly if I'm a political appointee. It was actually for political appointees. It's not for a senator who is seeking re-election or a senator wanting to become the president, or a House of Rep member wanting to go to the Senate. So I think the judgment in a way has helped to embolden the government to take positive action. But again, we say that the government has not cleared the judgment has really not.
So someone like Senator Chris Ngige,
yes,
is right in saying that he needs further clarification. But let's before we talk about that, I'm trying to. I'm a little bit confused.
The Court of Appeal Abuja, in their usual way. I'm not holding brief for the bench. Neither am I representing the NBA here. I'm talking as a Nigerian citizen who reads all these things in papers. So I'm not holding brief for the bench or the bar. The High Court, the Federal High Court in Umuahia, struck out Section 84, Subsection 12 of the new Electoral Act that ask all government appointees, political appointees of ministerial level, those in the advisors level, the advisors cadre, and every other political appointment. The court said that Section 84, Subsection 12, that says those people should not partake in delegates in primary elections of political parties.
Yes.
That, as far as I'm concerned, it was a good law made by the National Assembly. Because if you are a political appointee or in a federal or state level, and you are going to the primaries as delegates, you will end up trying to favor your paymaster if your paymaster is recontesting.
Still in government.
So I didn't say anything wrong with that. But when the court decided to void it, as the Federal High Court, Umuahia, by saying you will be infringing on the fundamental human rights of those people, because their main function is not delegates, but they have a right to vote and be voted for.
As enshrined in the Constitution.
As enshrined in the Constitution.
Yes.
That was what the Federal High Court, Umuahia, looked at. Funny enough, the matter went to appeal. This is why I said the Court of Appeal Abuja has a problem. A matter that happened at Federal High Court Umuahia. There is a Court of Appeal in Owerri.
Yes.
Everything that happens in anywhere in Nigeria, once it's political, you take it to Abuja. What kind of federal system are we running?
Okay, but so let's stay on course.
Now, we are on course.
Yeah, we're on course.
Because there's a Court of Appeal in Owerri.
That's why I said we should stay on course. Let's go.
So you went to Abuja. Abuja now said, oh, the man who took the case to the Federal High Court in Umuahia had no local standard. What does that mean? That Latin words. That he has not shown what he will suffer or his special interest
in the case,
in the matter. By taking to the court, they now struck out that man's case. Then, with the left hand, they said, well, if we are to hear the matter of the merits, which matter? The one who was struck out. They now said, well, we uphold the judgment of the Human High Court that you will be infringing on the fundamental human rights
of those who are participating. Yeah.
Now you cannot find that the confusion has now entered amongst those who have resigned and those who are yet to resign, because Ikike is now saying it needs clarification. I have just read in today's paper where Emefiele said, I have withdrawn my participation because he wants to remain as governor of Central Bank. So, as far as I'm concerned, the Court of Appeal has created more confusion. It has not helped anybody. And funny enough, the same day the Court of Appeal was giving judgment, the National Assembly was also busy amending that same section. So you find that you can't stop me. I'm sorry. Because when we are talking of governance, we were taught in schools that there are three arms of government: the executive, the legislature, and the judiciary. Each to operate separately, but they can cooperate, but not to interfere in each other's action. The executive is busy by the comments of Buhari that those who know they want to contest should go before delegates primaries. Yeah. That's executive. The Senate, on the same day that the judiciary was interpreting, the Senate was amending. Why are all these things taking place the same day?
Wednesday.
We are talking of Nigeria going forward. And you are telling me I should focus. I am focused. The problem is that if we don't tell ourselves the truth, so a matter will happen in Federal High Court Benin, you will take it to Appeal Abuja. Then the National Assembly that same day will be doing their own amendment. At the end of the day, what is the real law? What is the real law? If National Assembly is amending the same day that the Court of Appeal is making pronouncements, right now I don't know what the National Assembly has amended. I don't know whether it has overridden the judgment of the Court of Appeal, because you can, when a court makes an order and you don't want to appeal against it, the National Assembly can amend that law. They can amend it. Okay. And it will be perfectly right.
Okay, let me pause you there. Yeah. Barrister Greg, I'd like to get your perspectives on it because of the gamut of confusion that is pervading this clause 84, subsection 12, against the background that from the two judgments at the Federal High Court and the Court of Appeal, it looks like they are both saying the same thing, which means that it's an infringement on the fundamental human rights of those who are aspiring and they're still in position of authority. And someone has, argued here on the program that if Mr. President is still in office and if he has the intention to recontest, go ahead and contest, and that Vice President Yobeshi Banjo is in the office and is aspiring to be president. What is good for Barrister Greg Iyai is good for Barrister Ebi Thomas. And then the other thing that is quite disturbing, would you subscribe to the feeling that these judgments are political?
I think there are some political undertones.
To what extent is it political?
To the extent that they conflict with the law that has been passed by the parliament. And also, they did not give any clarity if you want to drive on these judgments, which direction are you going to? A judgment should be able to give us a direction, should be able to give us a kind of compass, and we can safely sail on it or drive on it. But this one hasn't really done so. They are dwelling on technicalities, they are dwelling on the substance of the matter. The issue is this: the judiciary is vested with the power to resolve any conflict between individuals, between agencies, between state and state, and state and the federal government. So what is the issue? Should appointed political appointees, should they participate in this or not? That's the issue before us. And then you give your judgment based on the law. I think it is safer for us if political appointees like ministers, special advisors do not stay on their seats, because are we sure they are not going to use whatever influence they have or they can muster, to endanger other people? Then we are talking of a community of people, because that was the word the court used, infringing on their fundamental human rights. What is their fundamental human rights that you are talking about? Is it the freedom to vote and be voted for? We are not saying they should not vote and be voted for.
Okay.
Because if you want to stretch that, you can say, why do you prescribe a minimum age for certain offices? Why do you prescribe certain educational qualifications? You are infringing on the fundamental human rights of those people that do not have that qualification. So, I mean, it is pointless. There must be some minimum standards. And what they are saying, if you are holding an office, resign. You can be voted for, you can vote. And as simple as that. So the issue of infringing on their rights. Yes.
Yeah. It's like the comment of EFCC chairman that INEC should provide the bank account details of every aspirant. Does Bauer have the legal capacity to demand for the bank details, which are private,
confidential,
and confidential to each candidate? If you feel you have any reason to investigate anybody's account, please go on, but don't drag INEC into what INEC does not have the power
to do.
It will be ultra-virus beyond the powers of INEC. It's not one of the guidelines for any aspirant to contest election to first of all bring his bank account. We are saying that we are suffering under the hands of these Yahoo boys. If you not go and display your bank details, it makes it easier for them. I am in trouble now, over 40 million. Now it was over my own phone in my own house, then in my own private bedroom. But now you say they should come and bring out their bank details. INEC, it is not one of the guidelines, and INEC should not obey such order. And if we also go beyond this issue we are talking about, in Nigeria, we need to be told that morality and the law are not the same thing. It can be immoral for a man to be in an office as a political appointee and be a delegate with his opponents. It's immoral. But when we are talking of his fundamental human rights, he still has the right as a Nigerian to vote and be voted for.
Okay.
But let us clarify issues. Let INEC make it as a guideline. And that was why the National Assembly made that provision. In section 84, subsection 12. That these people, this class of people who want to become delegates in the primaries of any political party should resign. What is wrong with that? What is wrong with that? I cannot be the general manager of ITV and at the same time be the chairman. I must choose one. So if you are asking the ministers to resign. They cannot be delegates. But you are exempting Osibanjo, who is contesting as a president. You are exempting him. Is that not? I mean, can you see that it's contradictory?
Okay. It's still politics today on independent television and radio. Well, as is always the case, our studio line will be open now, so you can call and be part of the discussion. Please, we always advise that you turn down the audio level on your television or radio set on the one hand, and please do not cast aspersion on anyone. Be civil in your language so we can have a very meaningful conversation. The number is already displayed on the screen. Dial that number right now and be part of the conversation. But just for the sake of our listeners on radio across the state and beyond, you can dial this number right now and be part of the show. 070-8365-4889. I'll take the number again. 070-8365-4889. That's the studio number. Let's get started with our first caller now. Hello, caller. Good morning. What's your name and where are you calling us from?
Yeah, this is Victor calling from me.
Yeah, Victor, you need to speak up a little bit so we can hear you. And then there's a bit of echo. You can just go back a little bit from where you are now to remove the echo.
Okay, I've done that.
All right, go ahead, please.
About the topic this morning, about the girl that they killed in Sokoto, it's immoral. Sometimes in Nigeria, I think that we are all wise. How can students who went to school to study and at the end killing their fellow students in the school in the basis of insulting the prophet or saying words that are not good to him? It's immoral.
Okay.
I pray that the government should do the necessary things that they're supposed to do.
All right.
Arrest the perpetrators.
All right.
And about our those ministers who are supposed to resign, as someone who is appointed by the government and you want to contest and you are still in the office, the normal thing is the right thing for you to resign your position and go and contest. If you are so popular and you know willingly that the people want you there, they will vote for you. It's not necessary for you to be in power and to contest. You have to resign. Even the vice president, you have to resign and contest. That is it. That is how it is done. We have to be wise in this country.
All right. Thank you, Victor, for the views that you just canvassed on the program, Politics Today. 070-8365-4889. That's the studio number. Good morning, caller. What's your name and where are you calling from? Good morning.
Hello, good morning. This is Solomon Ataga. I'm calling from Benin.
Yes, Solomon Ataga. Please go ahead.
You see, question and opinion is that are we in democracy? Because this is not how democracy needs to be passed. And this is not the best part of democracy. You see, okay, for the vice president, we have not heard any emotion that comes and says this thing is supposed to be done in a rightful way. People are dying, or you cry out to even resign, say you cannot longer bear this. You feel comfortable. How are we sure you are the best to render Nigeria? So that is already ruled out because there is no opinion. The way the second in command, Nigeria is not peaceful. Things happen. There is a question I'm asking again now. In those days when we were small, is it not the same Fulani that used to move around that time at the same time? Because those days Fulani sister in our home, if we force, you know, it's like we are another pattern of military. They modernize military for us now. So my answer is, you people, the journalists, the people in studio there should not be tired. Should be speaking for us, representing the masses. We are behind you people. God bless you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for those views. Pastor Bithoma, I want to ask a question. Okay, let me get by Sigret to respond to this.
Yes.
I'm just thinking, if a minister refuses to resign and he has political ambition. He continues to pursue his political ambition and he remains in office. Hasn't this judgment enabled such a minister to take such an action?
I think the presidency has actually given a very clear decision.
Is the presidency also not going contrary to that the provisions of the judgment by the Federal High Court and the Court of Appeal?
No, it is concerning appointees, not those elected.
Okay, before you respond, let me get this. Let me take this call. Sonny Yadusa, thank you for joining us on the program. Go ahead. Sonny Yadusa, please go ahead. Good morning. You're live on Politics Today. Please go ahead. Okay, a bit of a challenge. So let's get you to respond to that,
yes.
Barrister Greg.
No, it depends on which way the government wants to go. And I think the mind of the presidency is actually that people should resign.
Yes.
But I know that they can leverage on the ambiguity of the judgment to say, let's allow this man to remain. But I don't think it's going to help them. The presidency has made its mind clear that if you do not resign, you are on your own.
Okay. Barrister Thomas, yes.
Yes, what the presidency is saying is that there's a dichotomy between appointees and elected officials.
Yes. So if you are appointed...
So if you are appointed, go. Resign. If you are elected, stay and contest.
Okay.
So that dichotomy will not help you. Because that person who was elected, who wants to recontest, he is also a delegate. He has government money. He has everything at his disposal. So he will not be on a level playing field as a delegate and as an elected person.
Okay, let me get Sonny. Yes, Sonny, go ahead, please. Go ahead. Good morning.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
I wish I have 100 million. I would have also brought
Every Thomas, I can tell you, we prefer you give him the 100 million.
to assist them.
Okay. Please go ahead.
Speaking, I've constantly appreciated Ebi Thomas and he's your second guest in the studio there.
Barrister Greg, yeah.
They speak their mind without whether you are talking about APC or talking about PDP or whether you are dealing with the issue of constitution. I want to use this opportunity to plead with our religious leaders. It's not just our Muslim brethren. We still have them in the south here. You remember the encounter that Jesus Christ had with Peter? He brought out his sword and tried to cut somebody's ear. Jesus Christ had to caution him and say, stop. I have enough Electoral to fight for me if I want to fight. Yes. You remember what Paul admonished the brethren? That we should not find ourselves engaging in battle about the scripture. If you find someone that doesn't want to agree with you, leave him and continue. Then for our Muslim brethren, I think it is lack of understanding on the part who is teaching them. Because I don't know whether I have a Quran that I read. I have read from beginning to the end because I have a translation. I have never seen where Quran talked about fighting for Muhammad. So where did they not get that one from? So I think that we need to tell them that if Islam is a religion of peace, we need to see it peacefully. A man said in America, what you are doing is so loud, I cannot hear what you are saying. So it's about time we measure what we are saying and what we do to be the same. Even though the person is guilty of what he said, I think like scripture admonish us, Jesus Christ said, everyone will give account of every word that they have spoken. And just like I said that the word you spoke about the Holy Spirit, you will not be forgiven. I don't have the right to fight for God, but I have the right to stand for what I believe. If somebody shows desire to do something otherwise, I leave him before God. Because Nebuchadnezzar learned one lesson, that the God of heaven raised in the face of men, and he can give the kingdom to anybody that he wills. So for me to take the place of God, when Bible said that avenge not, for vengeance is mine, and everyone that killed by the sword will die by the sword, I think our Muslim leaders and religious leaders should tune down the kind of message they preach to people, because a lot of people believe in them. And what they say may be that
They want the violence, and that's what the people are hearing. It's different from what they are seeing. So if we can do that, that will help us, because to just continue to have this killing in a country that have a constitution, it is not something that we should brag ourselves about. Right. Thank you. Good morning, sir. Good morning,
Sonny Adosa. Thank you for those beautiful contributions. Let me just say, you've got a couple of messages now. But hello, caller. Good morning. What's your name? Good morning. What's your name?
Hello, good morning.
Yes. What's your name and where are you calling us from?
I'm Success, calling from Owa.
Yes. Go ahead, Success.
Yes, firstly, I want to use this medium to express my heartfelt condolence to the family of the disease.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you, Success. Our heart also goes out to the family of the slain girl. Just on the verge of concluding the program today, Politics Today on independent television and radio, how time flies. Moments like this, time really flies. My name is, okay, you can't get to, if you can't get to, just call again. Your line appears engaged. VP Osibanjo was not appointed by the government but was elected alongside the president by the Nigerian Master. Hence, he is not expected to resign. Thanks, Dr. Richard. Yes, we're aware of that. Thank you, Dr. Richard. Okay, what more can we bring for you? What more can we bring for you? Okay, that's the much we have. Let's take our parting shots on the program before we call it a wrap. Hello, caller. Good morning. What's your name? Quickly. What's your name? Hello. Good morning, caller. What's your name?
My name is
could you please speak up a little bit? I can barely hear you.
My name is Oxford.
Oxford, where are you calling us from?
I'm calling from Benin.
Yes, go ahead, please.
The issue that went to the Federal High Court and the one that went to Court of Appeal is not to clarify whether political appointee is to resign when such have political aspiration.
Yeah.
Is the issue of delegates.
Yes.
Being a minister, being governor, in the federal level, in the state level, not to use your position, because you agree with me, it's not all the ministers that are going to contest in their various states.
Yeah.
So the issue that the court is to clarify, which the National Assembly never amended, is the issue of the political appointees being a delegate or using their office.
Okay, thank you. Our time is up.
Position, their office to get what they want. That is what the court is saying. It is unfair. So not to whether they resign or not. If they are not having political ambition, they can remain in the office.
All right. That's been established as it is now. If a minister decides not to resign, even if he has political ambition, will he still run foul of the law against the background of the judgment by the Court of Appeal and the Federal High Court that said that it's an infringement on the fundamental human rights?
If the amendment of the Court of the National Assembly is that if you have political ambition and you remain in office, when you contest and you win, the loser will challenge you.
Okay.
Rely on that amendment for National Assembly, and you will be removed.
Okay, Vice Greg, final word.
That is the issue.
Yeah.
And once again, I want to celebrate Deborah. She refused to withdraw her testimony even at the point of death. Nigerians, let's keep speaking the truth. What was her testimony? Jesus helped me to pass my exams.
All right, thank you very much. That's where we draw the curtains on the program today. Politics Today on independent television and radio. Be sure to join us next week, Saturday. A fresh edition of the program is in the offing. Have a great weekend.